good morning, good morning. We're everywhere. It is Monday, the 9th of September, where I am, and I'm in Wales. And I'm in my lounge. Nobody's ever seen me in here before. It's like a secret cave. In fact, it says the Bat Cave when you come in the door. Welcome to the Bat Cave. So I'm not Batman. I'm not. I'd be Batwoman, wouldn't I? Because I am a woman, and I'm MJ, and I'm in Cardiff at the moment. We're in my lounge. We're also on Clubhouse. I want to say good morning to James and Francesca and Alexia and you and everyone. Good grief. We've even got Camilla. We are all here, not the Camilla, a Camilla, our Camilla, the girl in charge, Camilla, not just that Camilla, our Camilla. And our Jew and our Alexia and our James and our Cheska and me. MJ. And we're not just on Clubhouse, no, we've broken free. We've broken free. What do I mean by that? Well, we're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. Up. It's not normal. It's not normal to be on LinkedIn at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. There's nobody at work yet, MJ. That's not when LinkedIn starts. It starts at 9. There's nobody there. I don't care. It don't matter to me. What matters to me is that we're here now and that those of you on replay can find our shiny faces and our beautiful voices here on a Monday morning. Well, at the beginning of the school year. There's some people in Wales have gone back a week ago, which has really buggered up my summer. And then if you go up to Stornoway, they go back in the middle of August. That's at the top of our England. Our UK. They are right at the top of Scotland. Stornoway, they go back in the middle of August. That knackers my summer. And then I went to New York over the summer, and they're even at the wrong time, on the wrong side of the road. So literally, my reality has been smashed, which is what I'm about to do with yours. So if you aren't listening now, I'd listen now, because if you're planning on your reality being real, you're wrong. That's the first thing. Your reality isn't real because it's only your perspective, and your perspective is only your subjective interpretation. By that I mean you're only working out what's going on from the story you're telling yourself. Okay? And I've done that all my life, and so have you. And we're going to be talking today. Well, what we're going to be talking about? That's the first question. We're going to be talking about the world of work. We are. And we're not even going to say good morning to people first. They are here. I promise you they are. I know that those on LinkedIn and Twitch and Twitter and X, you see, I'm allowed to talk about work on all of those. When I was talking about sex, they threw us off. It's the agenda. It's a secret agenda. Don't tell anyone. I'm not. Just us. There's hardly anybody here. So don't worry about it. 6 o'clock on a Monday morning, nobody's up and nobody cares and nobody's coming. So we can all stay doing exactly what we're doing, secretly, loud and out loud and proud on social media secretly at 6 in the morning, because everybody's asleep unless they're in America. And if they're in America, they're not interested in us. I heard about it yesterday. I watched a bit of news. Somebody on Instagram talking about guns, and this woman, whoever it was from America, she said, yeah, but you people in the UK, you don't understand, they are trying to take our guns off us. Why don't you go back over to your little island? That's what we all think. Well done, because we're coming over to your island. That's what we're doing. I might just be MJ, but we've been to New York now, and the subway is accessible. I'm a wheelchair user, and I need to be able to go to work, because otherwise I get no money. And if I get no money, I'm not, I'm not what? I'm not workful. And if I'm not workful, then I'm not contributing. And if I'm not contributing, then for those of you live on social media that can see me, you can see that. And for those that can't see anyway, I'm drawing my hand across my neck as if to slice my throat or chop my head off. So let's all be economically viable. And I'm going to talk to you about that this morning. Now, I'll be honest with you. I've already practiced this talk. I practiced it. Because you know what practice makes, don't you? It makes progress, not perfect. I know what you were thinking. You were wrong. Told you. Now, as well as being wrong the first time, you're wrong about this just being about this GoFundMe link at the bottom of this screen. For those of you that are in Motivational Monday on Clubhouse, you won't be able to see me pointing because it's an audio app. You'll be able to listen to me pointing. And you also might be able to find the link on the top of the room. And I'll tell you for why, because I'm about to go and get it. Look at this. You see, I'm not a boy. I've just said I'm a woman, but I'm not a boy. And as a result, because I am not a boy and I am actually a woman, which I'm allowed to be, I can also do this, even though I'm an autistic woman. I realise that I have just changed the entire perspective of all autistic women because number one, I've just multitasked. There we are. It's at the top of the room. And number two, I'm now pointing to it live on social media. So you see, I'm there and I'm here. There is no separation. We are all together. In fact, we're better together. So you don't have to look at my gorgeous face for the rest of the morning because I'm going to add something to the stage for us all. I'm not going to be able to do it here on Clubhouse. If we were on Chatter, I could, because if we were on Chatter, Clubhouse people, then we can share our screen. And indeed, you can come on up onto the screen and we can have a bit of a show party. That's what we did with Hannah's story. We had a watch party over on Chatter. Chatter's not quite arrived yet because people have only just got used to social audio media, let alone mixed media or virtual reality or spatial computing or anything else I'm really interested in. They're not quite there yet, but at least we're nearly there. Are we nearly there yet? We're not even onto the world of work yet, but we are nearly there. It's 6:10. We've only just got started. So I don't know, just before I add this to the stage, how your weekend's been, but mine's been fantabulous, actually. I had a 5-hour conversation with a brand new friend who I met randomly in a hotel, and I went to a 4-day conference alongside her because when I met her, I knew her energy meant something important, just like the other people in these rooms. So before I arrived at this job, just to give you a little bit of a background before I tell you all about that work, my work was a nursery nurse. I started off in nurseries. I started off in schools. I started off helping kids, usually the kids that didn't really quite fit in. Then I started helping people, awkward people that didn't quite fit in or they had disabilities. I'm disabled myself. I began a charity to do that because I stopped giving my money away without showing other people what I was giving away. That's what I had to do so I can prove what I've done later, not now, what I did in the annals of time now. And I did it for 10 years with a charity called Yell SOS. Shout help. But it was a bit desperate, to be honest. And people did shout help, and all the government agencies sent me that help, sent them to me. Even when they closed the phone lines in the job centre, they sent them to me. Even when we had no funding from the local authority, they sent them to me. And even when we created miracles, social workers had to pretend that they weren't referring into Yell SOS because that made the services look like they were failing. So they used to bring them in the back door by coming to see me and saying, I've got a list of 10, will you take them, but don't tell anyone or I'll get sacked. So Yell SOS hid in the shadows out loud and proud, just like inclusion does now. And we'll move on to that in a minute. But I began retraining, further training. I began saying that as the nursery nurse, I wasn't getting enough money, so I became a teacher. And as a teacher, people weren't actually servicing the people and serving the people that I supported, those with disabilities. So I became a SENDCO. And SENDCOs didn't really understand mental health, so I became a psychotherapist. And psychotherapists didn't really understand health and social care, so I'm doing that now. I'm nearly through my social work degree because if I'm not, then education, health and social care and work can't work together. And if we don't work together, then we're just not any better, are we? So I formed accessibility partners, and those that are online, those that are on my camera, those that are on well, we're everywhere, right? The only thing we're not yet is broadcasting through Skylink from Elon's private office in order to let the world know that we've arrived. But we will be soon, because Skylink will be a thing, Skynet, Skylink, whatever he's called it, and we will meet Elon and he will allow me to broadcast from his private office. That's the way things have to be. It's just the largest audience you can get, and at the moment, Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Twitch and X and Clubhouse is as many as I can do. But I'll be honest, 3 years ago, I couldn't have even found out how to go live on Facebook. I didn't have enough followers for a start, or on Instagram, or any of these. But I learned how, because I might be autistic and dyslexic and dyspraxic and have multiple organ failures and chronic health conditions and arthritis and endometriosis. I might have lost most of the spare organs, appendix and gallbladder and all of those. I've had more operations than people I probably have ever met. And I have died 3 times. But it doesn't mean that I shouldn't work. And somebody's just walked in the room who knows a lady who walks in the room who has kidney failure just the same way and can't have a new kidney and is on dialysis permanently and is one of our clients and proud to be so. And at the weekend when my van was nicked, just saying, it was, my disability wheelchair accessible vehicle was stolen from the adaptation solution where it was having a new ramp. And I'm going back onto placement soon to finish my social work degree. And this has to be one of the hardest things that's happened. I now have my specially adapted vehicle stolen. I've been waiting for it 6 months. I can't book a taxi in Wales because there's a company called Visu who've taken over every other company, and I've watched them do it. And now they don't expect their taxi drivers to be on shift with a wheelchair accessible vehicle. So the only time I can go to anywhere is when they say so. And it takes about 2.5 hours to get a taxi. And you can imagine that if you complain about that, it probably takes a lot longer. But you can't actually book a taxi in Wales if you're a wheelchair user. Not in Cardiff anyway. And Cardiff is the capital. And I am a businesswoman. Now without a vehicle, I can't buy a vehicle. I can't hire a vehicle. I can't borrow a vehicle because it needs adapting. And even Proximo, the company for Motability, don't have enough vehicles and will admit so. So I'm stranded, and that means I'm grounded. That means I'm tethered. That means I'm prevented from access to work. Even though it's free work, I'm given to the local authority for 100 days of my time, which is highly profitable if I use it elsewhere. And then I get not to drive there anyway. So my workfulness is tethered. However, thank the Lord, I began something earlier. This is what I made earlier. And that means that during this tempestuous period, I'm able to lean into the fantastic team that I have around me right now, not just for the not-profit. And I've written a reference for somebody this morning who's been by my side during all the raising of the funds that you'll see in the GoFundMe down there, and the team around me that's been here and the mainstay who actually has been alongside me outside of all of these changes, from nursery nurse to social worker. Francesca, who at the weekend, it was 25 years since we met each other, so she's got stories to tell that, you know, other people want to hear. But until then, let's just move forward. So thank you to everybody, because I'm going to explain why www.a2w.me is important, because it brings in the money. And the money, the spare money that doesn't pay people, well, that goes into making things better for other people. And that's what I've always done. That's why Yale SOS was a charity, and it only ever needed £10,500 in its entire history. And we gave 10,000 of it back because I died. But the £500 we got from Unlimited, me and Victoria Wilkins, the lady that's been doing the inclusion rooms and has been by my side. That lady has a story to tell that everybody wants to hear, and it's about us. I think she's 14 or 16 years, but you're going to find people for every year for the last quarter of a century, and many of them in different years. No doubt there'll be a 25-year calendar of stories that we created together. The GoFundMe is just something that actually began when I came onto Clubhouse, and somebody said, if you want a hand cycle, because Karen Dark and Alexia is here to be testament, to give witness to that. I didn't even know what a cycle was, a hand cycle. I just knew I was in a wheelchair, and when people said cycles, I thought, And then Karen Dark showed me that even if you've broken your neck and you're paralysed from the chest down, you can still cycle. And I started looking. I didn't like the recumbent cycles, the lay-down cycles. They scared me. It scares me going on the road, to be honest. I'm autistic. The fact that I drive in the city is really something that I've had to learn and develop and grow through. I lived in Scarborough for 30 years, so I'm not asking people to change when I haven't bothered. I promise you. I've put myself in the toughest of situations. I might as well have been a Navy SEAL. And I said that at the beginning. And I believe social work is Navy SEAL training for disabled people, as is accessing any kind of work. So this gig isn't easy. And that's why we have a not-profit like there. That's why we have a for-profit that I'm multiply qualified for. And that's why we're headed by a team who are compassionate, caring, and lead with their heart. Heart leadership is the new leadership. There is no competition. There's only collaboration. And anyone that thinks it's otherwise, well, look to the new economy, because you won't be part of it. So the next question is, and it's on my slide, for those that think I'm jumping ahead, if we were on Chatter, remember, I'd be able to share these slides with you. Let's move over there soon. And have another channel for Clubhouse on a different device. I say we do both at the same time, because I think we've got a team now. We can take one channel each. What is Access to Work? Well, Access to Work is a UK government programme, and it allows people to apply for help and support to meet the barriers to their needs in work, the barriers that prevent them going to work, like this morning. I can't get a taxi, but they'd be able to pay for it retrospectively. I can't get my Motability vehicle because somebody's robbed it. I can't get a Motability spare vehicle because they haven't got enough. And I can't just get a normal taxi because Uber don't have any in Wales. They're allowed to operate without having any wheelchair accessible vehicles at all, because of course they're not really a taxi company. Everything is being devalued, de-skilled, and, well, undone. And if you can't see it, then you can't see it. You will do, and when you do, you'll say, oh, that's what she were on about. So what is access to work? You've got to be disabled. You've got to have some barriers to work. Disabled means you've got to have some barriers to work. Not that anyone's going to come and check and go, excuse me, we'd like to see your left leg x-ray and the doctor that said it. Now, access to work is about your barriers to work. It's a government CBT programme in helping you feel supported until you're allowed to fly. It's just that they don't know how to orchestrate it, so you don't feel like you're flying. You feel like you've just been dumped in a river, or dropped from a great height, or never picked up at all, or somebody picked you up, told you you could fly, and then took your wings off, and you fell to the floor and died. So access to work isn't really access to work, which is why I'm here. It's why I was here for Disabled Students Allowance. It's why I was here for, well, education. It's why I was here, and I am, for all of these, psychotherapy. It's why I'm here for social worker, because actually we have to get this shit to fit together, or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, it's pointless, and then we're all being busy achieving nothing. Well, I'm not up for that. You do what you want. So access to work, you've got to be 16 and disabled. You've got to be with one remunerative hour a week. That means you get paid an hour a week, or you pay yourself. You can be a company director, yes. You can be working for a company, yes. It can be your own. You can be an employee of that company. And you can just be, as well, self-employed and work, on all these side hustles that I have. I have a coffee business. I have a pure and clean product company, online and about to be face-to-face. I am an airy-fairy angel lady. I do card readings. I read people's future, actually, unfortunately. It's kind of a health and well-being check, but I can see what's going on. And it's because my grandma was a Romany. She lived in a painted caravan, and I can't help it. Now, I do most of that for free, but it won't be for long because, well, I'm valuable, and value needs to be accommodated and then given to my charity in order that we do well. And everybody gets inclusion. That's only been my only point all of my life. So access to work is a government programme that we can help you with. And if you think you can do it on your own, good luck, enjoy. I'll see you when you don't. And whatever you get, have a good laugh and think you've got it, right? But I'll tell you, whatever it was, it would have been different if we'd been along board, but alongside. It's up to you. Listen, we get paid through something called coping strategy support, which frankly I designed. So I know what I'm doing because I made it. And I've been dealing with the access to work system since my first company started way back in the noughties. So if I don't understand access to work, nobody does. There's two ladies that are trainers in Bradford, and they know as much as me. That's it. That's the whole of the UK, people. I would love an access to work kind of, I don't know, university challenge, because I'd win. So let's go. Access to work. I ought to do a mastermind on access to work. So who can access to work? That's what I've got on my next slide. I'll tell you who. Everyone who's got a barrier to work, be it psychological, dyslexic, dyspraxic, psychological in that, you were depressed once you felt suicidal, you've got diabetes, you've got a chronic health condition, you can't walk, you've got one leg, you're blind, you're deaf, you name it, right? So who isn't entitled to access to work? Well, there's the problem, isn't it? It's such a broad structure that actually everybody is, so nobody knows. And nobody knows whether they are or they're not. So if you don't know, come and see me. Literally, come and see my team. Go to that website that's in front of you, www.a, as in access, a number two, to, two, not to, or, two, a number, w.me, access to work me. Get me access to work. Yeah? You need both kinds of work. You need your work and their work, because work doesn't pay. I'm just saying. So, come and see us if you don't know, and you probably don't. Why us? Well, I'll tell you why, and you can see from the picture. We're out on our own because we're outliers. We always were. Why fit in when you were born to stand out? Literally, it's ridiculous. So I never did, because it's a pointless endeavour. So we are the outside the bell curve, and who wants to be in the bell curve? Because the bell curve is the middle of the line. The bell curve where everybody else is. It's pretty bloody crowded. And if you think it works, they wouldn't all still be vying to do the same thing. The bell curve very rarely is the best solution. It's just the solution that suits the most. Well, this solution doesn't really suit anybody, but it does achieve the end result. So that's why us. Who are we? Well, we're a group of individuals who care and are committed and are resourceful and are headed by a lady who knows what she's doing and can orchestrate a team to learn to do that. Believe me, others have gone off to do it on their own. They are very well trained. Everything explodes once they leave me. So, it's fantastic. I'm subject to my own system being successful, and that's why my system's going to be sold. So who are we? Well, we're the leaders. How do accessibility partners work? Well, we work together. We work with our not-profit, we work with our people, we work with our partners, and we work with you. We also work with the government. We just don't work for them. That's a unique position, because now we're in a situation where we're willing to put our money where our mouth is, as opposed to your mouth where our money is. We put our people ahead of the process, and then eventually one day, and the government take a year to pay, we get paid for the pleasure of our process, for you and your outcomes. So you're making your outcomes before we even get paid. Now that's a unique model. So how do we work? We work differently, and we work from your perspective. You're the boss. Why are we needed? Why is Accessibility Partners needed? Because there's no other. And there's no other because nobody else will work for nothing. I used to do it for absolutely nothing. Now I do it for pay at a later date. That's different. And it's changed my life. That sounds like a transactional model. It was one I didn't really understand because I've never really been transactional. Actually, what I was, and by that, I give you, you give me. I didn't think that's the way the world went round, actually. I didn't. I thought that was wrong, and it didn't work. Because reciprocal, I can't always give to you at the same time as you give to me, because my needs change and so do yours. So I don't expect that of you. I just expect you to be committed to love. That's it. Fairness, equity, compassion, all of those skills and those attributes given by a human that's actually not being ego driven. So given that you can't be driven by your ego, you better let it get out the car. That means you've got to shift to your heart. And I've been saying it and banging on. I've been putting it in logos. I've been threading it through everything. I'm a crystal, angel, fairy, airy, card telling, soothsaying, teaching, social working therapist. Because I say the same thing every time, all the time, in every different way. We're better together. There is no collaboration, competition. There's only collaboration, actually. Probably the first is true at the moment, but there will be, believe me. Believe me, there is no other way. And when it goes to shit, you will all tell me I was right. So get ready now. Don't wait. It's a ludicrous idea. Can you imagine? when it all goes to shit and you turn around and you go, MJ, do you remember? Are you all right? I'll be like, yeah, come on. There's room, but for fuck's sake, how long did I have to go on? So why we needed? We needed because we have young men that are going to work because they're autistic and they go every day and they don't know to not go when they're not at work. So they go on the day off. And their mum's so skint that because of the taxis they have to use because they can't actually get there on their own because they're not safe to go any other way and there's no transport any for them to go. So she does that so they actually go to work because being at home they'd just be torturous. So they go on the day off anyway. So now they're spending more money than they would have to go to work to get the wage, to go to work to pay the taxes. Mum's in hospital most of the time, and then when she's not, she's in bed with blindness, and her other son is stuck in the bedroom because he's neurodivergent. Right. Who do you think's going in there? I'll tell you who. We are. Because he deserves to keep his job, and he can't just keep buying taxis to get to work, to go to work, to bring the minimum wage in, to bring it into the house, to have it taken off the benefits so that he goes to work so he's not with his mum and his mum don't have to look after him while he's looking after it anyway. You get it. So why we needed because everything that's intractable is ours, and it's about time we actually served all the rest, the easy stuff, the ones that the others are picking up, instead of me being the one that picks up the shit. Actually. So I need people that are accessing their access to work to come and access the people that are actually accessing it for everybody, because that's what we're doing. Come and help me by accessing your own access to work with us. What are the stages of the application? Well, it shows a piece of toast being cooked there. I don't eat wheat because it's a fallacy. We used to feed it to animals. The fact that we changed from rice to wheat and then we started feeding us wheat was just the how to devolve the humankind and make it either the consumed or the consuming, right? So I don't eat wheat because it's a joke. The wheat that we eat isn't the wheat that we made. It's not even the wheat that we originally know about. So if you don't know the wheat's modified, read your cereal packet and then tell me that you don't actually eat crap, because you do. If man made it, eat it. If God made it, eat it. If man made it, don't. Although you say I keep telling the truth, don't I? Because I watched some TikTok the other day just to see what the hell happened on there, and I was terrified by the things that people were putting into a thing for children and then serving it up. They called it mac and cheese. They should have called it a shitstorm, eh, Camilla? Absolutely ridiculous. We're killing them, we're teaching them how to kill them, and then we're watching them and encouraging them to kill them before we kill them, but keep them alive so we can farm them. I'm talking about the pharmaceutical industry, and if you don't like that, I'm not bothered. So the stages are: you apply with us, and then the government don't turn up for 26 weeks just in case you get bored. During that 26 weeks, we help you prepare, and that's our secret sauce, our system, which is fantastic. You can't learn it by just doing it, but you can learn a lot about it so you can maybe understand it whilst doing it. And our systems are evolving, and they're robust and serviceable and competitive, and they don't bottom the market, and they don't take access to work and rape it, and they don't do what they've done to dentistry, to disabled students allowance, to transport for disabled people, to hospital appointments, to consultancy rates, to getting a school, to somebody with an ECHP. If they haven't got it, their private school is going to now charge their parents VAT. Actually, what that means is they're going to charge the local authorities VAT that have been spilling their bright disabled children with SENCO needs into private schools and then letting parents get funded. Now, I left that there. Now there's a kick-off about it because they don't want to pay VAT, but they were warned to get the education and healthcare plans, but they wouldn't invest in getting people like me to do them quickly when they should have in a system. So the stages are, we help you with the stages. And who pays? Well, the government do eventually, but in about 18 months. But they do pay eventually out of the money they've saved on the benefits that they've taken off you and me and everyone else. So it's a big round circle, but at least we're doing something with it instead of just paying for civil servants not achieve anything, or businesses come in and take and rape the proceeds. So what can access to work provide me? Well, a whole range of things, but basically the resolution to the barriers to work. That can be transport, it can be support, it can be equipment. I don't need to go into it because actually that's our job. How will this impact me and my business or my service? Well, you can imagine, can't you? If I was able to get out into Cardiff Bay today, which I can because I made the hire car company that isn't Proximo, it's another hire company because I complained to the chairman, the director, who then went and got a different company to hire me a car. And then eventually, anyway, you can imagine, I think I've had 5. 3 failed me. It's been like a full-time job. But I refused to let them take my van back on Friday when the police finally told me what was going on, and so did the lift company, that the van had been nicked. So I have got transport today to get to the mortgage meeting about the place that we went to see on Saturday in order that we can sort out. Anyway, it's work, it's business. I can't be grounded. So how will it impact you? Well, it'll give you, even if it's retrospective help, you know the help's coming, so get it. And believe me, there's people in this room who didn't get the help, didn't really orchestrate it very well, didn't listen particularly well because they have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So that's okay. But people don't listen to me and they don't hear the agenda because actually we're all speaking from our own agenda. But those that have stuck with me, I'm very proud of you. And thank you for doing that. I've stuck with you. I certainly haven't expected the money before I've done my job. Never. Because I like to prove who I am before I have to ask you for money. Any of you. But I do quite like it at the end of the day, because I'll be honest, I've been doing it for loads of people and they just walk off. So it'll impact you really positively. And now it'll impact us really positively because I'm having to make sure that people are, contracted. It's a shame, isn't it? I'll have to write off quite a lot this year. They call it being a mug. They call it learning. I'm not bitter. I'm grateful to those people because they've proved to me where the gaps are in this scaling business. They've stress tested the system for me. I had to see how people behaved, and boy have I. So, where is the UK government now with access to work? Well, I've just told you. It's leaving. Just like DSA, just like dentistry, just like the NHS, just like, well, actually the government. Just like any kind of control locally, when we have the global whatever it is, you'll realise what's going on. Maybe beforehand. Anyway, it's running out. Hurry up. Come and get it while it's here. It's evolving. Let's see if we can make it into something reasonable by being the largest organisation and therefore having a seat at the table and a voice and a space and a place with a not-profit and a profit and a community and a people and some sort of social movement. Let's skew the bloody narrative. For fuck's sake. Why is this important to voice? Or Clais in Wales. I'm in Welsh Wales. And I went to BASWA, the British Association of Social Workers, and very quietly said, voice is the Welsh way. Yes, it is. We sing louder and we are prouder than the rest of you. And I'm not even Welsh, I'm Wenglish. Why is it important? Because our voice is important. And unless you speak up and you're an ally, then you are on the other side. If you're not for inclusion, who are you for? And what do you stand for? So, who wags the tail, or does the tail wag the dog? Well, it's a guide dog. Most people need one. The tail is wagging the dog. And if you don't know what that means, come to one of my talks. If you're not willing to change, don't come. If you're not ready to shift your perspective, don't come and see me. Just don't come. You don't buy a ticket. Don't come. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you there. It's pointless. I'll only be sending you home in the first 5 minutes. So don't come. What is a one-stop shop is the next question. Well, we are. And we have to be, because if we don't connect the dots, nothing works. All right? That does include things like you're going to hear me say, if you come to a coaching session, what you're eating. You are. And I don't beat around the bush. And neither do my team, because they're trained that way. They're probably a lot softer than I am. I don't believe it works. But there we are. They can play those games. It's your time. It's your money. It's the government's money. You do what you want with your money within the remit of the coping support and our strategies and our coaches and our team and what we do and believe what we do is second to none. But you still have to join in. And if you come and see me, well, you better be ready to. Otherwise, go see another person. I told somebody last week I wasn't going to see him again. I've seen him for one session. They can have sessions with my coaches, or they can go to another company and we can hand their contract to that company if they don't want to work with us, because that's people's choice. They need to vote with their feet. That still means we get paid. It just means that I'd have to deal with them. So when I choose to work with somebody, it's because I choose to work with them. And believe me, that is becoming a scarcity. The next appointment you can get with me currently is the 30th of November. In the next month, it will be the 30th of November 2028. So I'd get in now, but there we are. We're a one-stop shop, and we're a one-stop shop because I'm creating a scalable system that I've evolved over 25 years, and therefore we work because it feeds itself, just like the system that I've talked about, where they took all the benefits, fed it to the workfulness, and now they're feeding it back again, all right, in your taxes. How do we start the process? Well, there's a starting line. We help you get to the same starting line as everybody else that goes to work, and we help you understand how to get there, the steps. The sensible steps that allow you to keep your benefit while you're doing it, because otherwise you'll be dead. How long does it take? Well, how long's a piece of string? No. They come after 26 weeks, but in 6 months we've prepared you. It's quick. It's down and dirty. We've only just got you ready by then, believe me, and it's 6 months of coaching. The next 6 months, we tidy up the ends and get you to the end of the process, and by God, we're genius at it. It takes a year. It might be quicker. It may be longer. We've had people that have been 3 years. But we're there, and we're there because we believe in you. We don't believe in getting paid. We know we're getting paid because we know we're valuable. And who supports me and how? Well, us, our team, our growing team. And if you want to work with us and you want training by us, it's going to cost you, but we're nearly there. We'll be charging you very shortly, quite handsomely. We are refreshingly expensive because we're the best. So you'll be ready. And believe me, I'm trained. I've just graduated from Speakers University, and it was intense. Why should you choose Accessibility Partners? Well, you can't see it right now, but what you can see on the screen is the future Wales plan, the national plan to 2040. My plan has always been 25 years ahead, which is really handy because I've always said that what we're doing in Wales, we'll be doing in England in 15 years' time, and the plan's been written. I mean, I was party to the plan. I've been here 3 years. I've helped the plan evolve. I am the plan. We are the plan. We went to go and be the plan. We went to show the plan and be part of the plan. So now we're developing the plan, because that's what happens when you include yourself. That's why inclusion is so important. And how can you be an ally for inclusion? Well, join in. Join in. You know where I am. Here on a Saturday. Same place, MJ's. On a Saturday at 8. Monday at 6, Monday night at 7. That goes 6, 7, 8 actually if you start on Monday morning. 6 a.m, 7 p.m, 8 a.m. One end of the week, the other end of the week. I've tried to keep it simple, sunshine. Kiss you, right? I want you to understand. I want to say it as clearly as possible. Even though I've got a number of degrees, I've just gone on a 4-day speaker university to try and help me clarify what the hell I'm saying. And I'm getting better at it because I keep practicing it. I'm even practicing Instagram reels and posts. I didn't even know what the hell Facebook did. So, until my van was nicked. I think we're there. I'm just going to take this from the stage. I'm back. Hey, thank you. It's been 40 minutes of me, ranting a bit. But what I want you to do is I want you to go to that GoFundMe that's at the bottom of the page, the one that's at the top of the room, and I want you to donate what you can. And I want you to donate what you can because I want you to put your money where your mouth is rather than your mouth where your money is. So if you're not helping, don't talk. That's it. If you do talk, don't talk in my earshot. And if I hear about it, I'm going to come and talk to you. Because I think if you've got an opinion, put your money where your mouth is, frankly. That's just about it. I thought we should buy a farm in Uganda. So I put my time there, I put my effort in, I put my love in, and I put my money where my mouth is, and I put my mouth where my money was. And I don't think you've got a right to do so until you have. So make it loud and proud, and make it there, and make it about you, and make it about us, and make it about me, and make it about the first disabled entrepreneur that we are creating in order to skew this narrative in this government and then spread it all over the world. They are practicing with Wales. If we don't practice well here, the game's going to be shit. So help me practice the game so that we're making the plan to 2040, so that what we do in Wales, we do in the rest of the UK, and then the UK leads the fucking world like it always should have. Anyway, I need to get on bigger stages. And I need people to listen. And I don't care whether they do. And I don't want them to come and listen unless they want to change the perspective, or at least listen to an alternative one and then make their own mind up by going and testing it themselves. I'm not asking anyone not to just do what I say, because I say what I do and I do what I say. So come and try it and then tell me I'm wrong. You're welcome to. Absolutely welcome to. I'll be honest, I think we're probably going to develop a money back guarantee. But I'll tell you what, you'll have to prove you haven't changed, because I don't believe you won't. So there we are. We don't just do access to work, but we definitely do. Are you involved? Yes, you are. If you're not yet, you're going to be. There's people here that know that. They've been that. They're seeing that. The barriers to work are coming. Just when? If you don't know then, really, it's a bit too late. So get to know now. So I think everyone needs my training in the entire world. I think they need my training just from being you're going to be disabled soon. We don't grow black. We don't grow gay, generally. I mean, I've always been queer. But even that's evolving, right? Everything's evolving. Are you? And if you're not, I don't know what game you're playing. I'm playing inclusion because I think it's about everybody. And I think we're better together. And I think if you don't know the game, you can't play the game. And it's all a game. I used to feel guilty about saying that. Oh, that's uncomfortable. But no, they only wanted it to feel uncomfortable because that's exactly what they're playing. And if you don't believe me, let's go and talk to the 13 trillionaires that run this shit. And by the way, if we gave everybody the money they're due across the world, we'd all have £1 million. What does that mean? It means some fuckers got your money. So, good morning. We have another 15 minutes. I'm very grateful that you're here. And I think that the investment, Francesca, was probably well worth the money. I think I'm a good learner. Good morning, James. How are you?
Good morning, MJ. Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Yeah, really good this morning. I've managed to get my rhythm back in a little bit, so I'm getting up that little bit earlier. The last couple of weeks I've been quite worn out and tired, so I've been taking the time out for me. But yeah, and what you say about everything's incredible, because I'm jogged back to the 2 years ago, just after all them lockdowns and shutdowns and bang ups that we had, and I think it's 2 years this month, and it's been an incredible journey so far, and it's really only just getting started. It's incredible where the journey we've been on so far. It's really exciting times, and I liked what you said about the availability of what certain governments and organisations are doing, and I thought it's more like dark art and not really magical, kind of smoke and mirrors. It reminds me of my dad John, and obviously I'm his son. And if you want to talk about Johnson, and sorry, did I say John or his son or Johnson? We can talk about the whole smoke and mirrors, but I'm not going to go down that pothole. Because I see that our journey is incredible at the moment where we're heading, and got a great plan for the week. Really exciting journey ahead of me where I'm heading to, and I can see blessings are coming my way soon. So blessings are going to be returned in your direction, because every little helps, as they say, when it comes to money and expensive things that we buy. And I think you have to return the gratitude to the great leaders that are moving you forward, MJ. Thank you. And yeah, I'm really excited about this week. I'm just checking what other notes I've put down, but I'm really grateful, MJ. And it's
I was talking about you yesterday most of the day. I was talking about you yesterday most of the day because
didn't give you a bad toothache, did it?
I've met a lady, and she's a VAT expert, not a fat expert. She is quite fat, but she says that about herself. She's put herself on a diet now. I said there's no diets, love, anyway. So she's a VAT expert, and she's called Jane, and she's pretty amazing. Her family went still do it actually, but she's in house now. went round with all the stalls with the roller coasters around the country. So she's a traveller. She's not Romani like me, Romani, but she's a traveller, and she's a genius. You know, she can build her own cars. She can build her own stalls. Her brother liked cleaning.
Show lady.
Yeah, that's it. She's a show lady. I don't know the words. I just am one. I just should have known it. It's the only language I don't know because I never bothered.
We all migrated, you know. We all have
That's
this
it.
journey where we migrate through life into different places.
That's
so
it. So listen.
Yeah.
So she's from Sheffield or Manchester. I think it's Sheffield. I said to her, listen, I'll tell you what you remind me of. I said the only client I've ever had that has a heart of a warrior, somebody that's so steadfast they go back to the Stone Age and before. Like I've known them since the beginning of time. They are literally that timeless, but like another person on this stage that I won't mention yet, but they might have a butterfly on their head. And that's not just because chronologically she's older than me. Yes, but but esoterically and energy wise, you James and this new lady called Jane, Jane and James, her and her family are just stoic, and her heart is exactly the same. And I met her in the hotel when I came back from New York, and I knew her before I started talking to her. And last night she joined the business, and she's come in with a good entry pack. So she wants to share the love, and she's going to be a beautiful human, and she's going to help us with VAT, and we keep paying loads of VAT. So I've said to her if she can help me get VAT 0 rated for work for the disabled, us the disabled, then she'll change the world, and I'll give her whatever consultancy fee she asks. I've given her that promise. She's got a heart of gold like you, and I just feel like we're about to get so powerful, and I'm so grateful to you for being the stoic warrior that I knew you always were from the moment you opened your mouth. Meeting you on Clubhouse has been an honour, and we have only just got started, James. So thank you.
Thanks.
It's just true. Hey, Francesca, 25 years, eh? Good morning again.
Good morning.
Again.
We've
been at work already, haven't we, love?
Work this morning.
Absolutely. We get cracked on for an hour before we start this malarkey because it just puts you in the right mindset, I think.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you talk about our business, I mean, it's not a business transaction.
No.
You know, we care about the people that we serve. We care deeply about the people we serve, and dedicated enough that we get up at 5 a.m. and we manage their cases. That's what we do.
Absolutely, we do. And I do expect it actually at some point in the week. And I'm sorry I've had to expect it just quite so much in this last 2 weeks. And I understand that it's tiring. I do turn up every morning, and I turn up every morning not because I'm a control freak. And I think people do think that. But when I do let go, at the end of the day, unfortunately, a ship needs steering. And I think at this point, ship steering is something I still have to maintain. And I'm not sorry for that. Neither am I sorry for having expectations of us, because this is a difficult gig. Working in this organisation isn't easy, and I start every interview for everybody now saying it isn't easy, and you've got to have a heart for it. And if you're not up for activism, don't come, because that's why there isn't anyone in the industry that is, because it takes time and dedication and commitment and learning, and it's as difficult as learning a degree in that there's an expanse of information that needs to be utilised all at once. So you better be somebody that can literally hold more than one idea in mind at a time. It's not easy, is it?
No, it's definitely, definitely test my capabilities.
Yeah, and I think it helps me grow. It has been a system that's tested me and grown me. They say that if you make something 11% harder, you can tolerate it. Between 4 and 11%, that's the window by which you need to be increasing the intensities and severity or difficultness of your task. So this system grows us and we grow the system. I think that's fair and equitable.
Well, I remember the time when you actually dreamt of this time. We're talking so long ago now. But I remember that. I remember that moment when you went, do you know what? I've had a dream, and this is what I'm going to do. And you've not just done what you said you were going to do. You've developed a system so that everybody benefits from it. And I think that's the difference. It's never been about you, it's been about everybody else.
Well, now I include
Um,
myself because that was disrespectful too. When I meet people like I did last week and they say I put everybody first, I recognise myself, but I also recognise the fact that I didn't include myself and it nearly killed me. Now I do include myself. I'm loud and proud and I say so because we all have to include ourselves. It isn't transactional. It isn't. It isn't. It's about a transaction of love. You know, one of my coaches said that I gave him a heart on this weekend, and I agree that I give him a heart on. There's a reason for that. I genuinely love him. Like, if I didn't, he wouldn't be able to feel it. And that's true. Like, that is it. That's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't help but love people. It's just a thing I do. And I do it if I feel that they have value, and they all have value because I can find the value in everybody, and then we can grow it. That's it. Innit? I think it is.
yes, absolutely. I'm still here.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is anyway. So I think that's what we do in Accessibility Partners. I think we give people a heart on, we grow them, we develop them, and we help them do it according to the government systems, and we help them circumnavigate those systems because they're fucking hard. And actually, they're trying to fuck you up the arse, pardon my French, if you go one way or the other. And they do it deliberately like some sort of snare. And I'm not up for people being trapped. I think it's shit. I think they're already trapped in a benefits poverty trap where they can't earn above like 30 grand just in case anyone might want a mortgage bigger than that, and they might actually live with other people, and then they won't all live in a box, and then they can't all be separate, and then everybody doesn't have a sense of belonging, and then they all kill themselves or each other, or they don't like each other, or they don't eat, or they get poorly in the head, or they eat sugar, or they overeat, or like some of my clients that have just been so obese they died because they were 30 odd stone because they swallowed their own feelings and they ate sugar and it expanded them. Like, all of that is just one big killing machine. And Temple Grandin saw what they were doing to cows, and she created animal husbandry for cows all over the world. I'm just doing it for people, with them, just like she did. And Temple saw every angle of every mirror that the cow killing machine required in order that the cows didn't scream on the way to dying. And then the meat was good, and they weren't pointless. And their life wasn't pointless. All I'm doing is helping herd the people, because if I don't herd them, they'll be herded anyway. So I don't mind telling it, because I can't help but tell it on account of the fact that I've been banging the same drum for 25 years now. I've got a fucking drum, literally. I went and got myself 2 drums, and I'm drumming that instead, because maybe eventually I'll stop being angry. But I'm not sure, because I think it has to be my driver for now. Whilst I stand up for people who are providing government services left, right and centre. I can't even get access to work as a social worker. It doesn't exist. You can't claim it. Now, I think they might have changed that just recently because I've been screaming about it. I'm about to find out. Anyway, it wasn't fair. Access to work people can't have access to work, just saying. So those civil servants that ring us, they're really, really fed up. They don't get the reasonable adjustments from work, and they don't get their barriers to work met because they're not allowed to apply for access to work. Now, if that system isn't developing a system that you put one against the other, I don't know what is. If we just look at that as a happening, just that, we will not give those people it. It's like Milgram. When he put people, he was a psychotherapist, a therapist, a psychologist. He took some people, he advertised in the paper, he gave them a figure, and that was all right. Those days, you gave them some money, you could do what you wanted with them. He collected them in a van, he put them into a prison, he assigned half of them as prison guards and half of them as prisoners. The prison guards kicked the head in of the prisoners and ruined their life and gave them torturous tasks and didn't treat them respectfully. And then they changed sides. And then the same thing happened the other way on. Because people are people till they want something or they think they're important. So we need to herd people because they're being herded anyway. I think they need herding in a way that doesn't destroy them. And medical assistance in death is coming to the UK. It's already here. That means that route 1, I can kill you in 24 hours as a social worker and a doctor in a room, that you have to say, I want to die, and you think that's good. You think dignity in death's all right. Well, it might be until your family want to actually get rid of you and say, Mum, if you die now, you won't be going in that home and you won't be spending the family inheritance, and me and my brother will actually have the house and we won't have to sell it when you die. So do us a favour, do it now, will you? Here, sign here. That's not dignity in death. That's euthanasia. So this is important stuff, and workfulness is important stuff. And I don't want to be the Grim Reaper next year. I'm not up for it. It's not. I have to deal with my generational trauma and usurp it. It's why I'm so driven. So, we're not having it. We're going to understand what dignity in death is, and we're having the conversation just like sex. 17 times we've spoken about this in Parliament, and I think it might be the 11th or the 17th. Look it up. They're talking about it again. And remember, they're talking about it with loads and loads of old lords and ladies and dames and duchesses that really don't want to die alone and probably don't have family that want to sit with them while they do it. Just saying, their audience is a little skewed. They're all 9 million years old. Grey, stale and male is what I put in one of my assignments. I failed this year and I was told I was being political, but it's true. So if we're asking that audience what to do about it, what do you think they're going to say? Yeah, that's a good plan. I'm done now, thank you. Well, I'm not sure if you're 23 and you've just got cancer and you've got 3 kids and you're about to give birth, that you want to be put through medical assistance in death, just saying. And maybe you do want everything spending on you. And maybe you do need an NHS to give you stem cell therapy and not 50 grand off your mum and dad. Anyway, that's enough of that bandwagon and that drum banging. Alexia, you're on the health board, aren't you? Have you been banging the drum? Good morning.
Good morning, mate. Yeah, I've been banging the drum.
Good. Literally and metaphorically. Ah.
Yeah. I had a good meeting yesterday with Alan.
Oh, he's a lovely, lovely human.
He is. And it was nice to get together.
That's it.
Because the power of working together is what makes things change.
It is, my love.
When you're on your own, you're sorry, my voice is enough already this morning. I've already got my block out.
Yes.
You are
Relentless.
down a couple of hours of work.
Relentless.
Now gone back to getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So my body is waking up, but the rest of it isn't liking it very much.
Yeah.
But
Getting back in the groove.
it is getting back in the groove. The best thing about that early morning is that nobody else is going to bother you.
That's
because
right.
The majority of the world isn't moving.
That's why it's
So
effective.
Yeah. So you're not going to get bothered by somebody else.
Okay.
And one of the points I think we all need to realise is that disability happens to you at any point in your life. You might be 3 and you fall over and you're disabled for the rest of your life. Might not happen till you're 73, but it's going to happen at some point in your life. But there's one important thing that if you don't get this right now, and that is thinking about the resources of this planet, your grandchildren are not going to be here. It's as simple as that.
Mm.
Because what we're heading for right now is a food war, a water war, and I'm not kidding you. I have the same gifts as MJ. I'm not Romany, but MJ and I very often pick things up, and it can be.
You're ancient.
to deal with.
You're ancient. You're like way back when. You're way back when. You're like
Oh,
tribal.
yeah.
You are.
Oh yeah, I can trace
Druid, I'd say. Druid.
spiritual
I'd say Indian.
connections way back in history.
Yeah. You've been here a few
And
times.
There are going to be people who are going to say that's woo woo.
Well,
but
that's up to them.
you and I both have had near-death experiences.
Yep.
One of the reasons we get given challenges on this planet is to remind us that there's more than one way of doing something. All authorities want to do, and I have been a nurse, I've worked in the NHS, I've also worked in the private sector hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now sitting down at times and thinking about where that money's going, what we do with it. But let's be honest, if you've got a house, you've got to pay the bills.
Mm.
So we've got to pay the bills in the NHS.
Mm.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do heart transplants. I'm waiting for a total knee replacement, and my walking is deteriorating by day. It's even worse than when Alan saw me yesterday, this morning, when I haven't been up long. But we have to start taking responsibility for what we do, what we eat, how we live, what we take from this planet. It's not finite. This planet is a living thing.
It is.
It's where your food comes from. It's where your clothes comes from. It's where your house comes from. It's where your car comes from. It's not a never-ending source.
No.
Reuse, recycle. That's what we're doing if we want, like me. I've had to go in and say, I can't now manage without a new knee. And it's kind of interesting what's happened with my leg. Because my right leg used to be a good inch shorter than my left leg. And I was looking at this with Alan yesterday, because my tendons have gone in my leg. And when they do a knee operation, normally it's your tendons that keeps that knee operation in place. So they can't do that with me. But because those tendons are gone, something has shifted in my leg, which is probably what is making it so difficult to walk. So my leg is now twisted, but it's actually made it longer because it's going away from me. So it's got to be longer to do that. So we change. Everything changes. But what you have control of is what you do in your life. The blog I put out today is something that I saw last week. Everybody loves the concept of going to lovely places on holiday, and for a lot of people who don't have mega bucks, going to somewhere like Hawaii is a big dream. They've uprooted 99% of the trees without replacing them. So it was a mega flood last year because where you've got mountains, it makes more rain. When it rains, it really rains. But what happens when it rains, the trees, the grasses and things that are deep rooted slow that water down. That's not there now. It's not only wiping out people's properties, it's killing them. And I'm just going to say that because that is exactly, it's. I don't know how many people it killed last year in Hawaii.
Millions.
So if you're going there on holiday, just think about that one.
Horrendous.
So I live on the Fens. The Fens is one of the growing gardens of England. I didn't always live here, and I didn't even know what the Fens was. But I had a life-changing experience where I lost everything. And I do mean everything. I could have been one of the guys on the street that I talked to here. But I chose not to be there, and that things would change. So we now have the opportunity to make sure we replace some of what we take from this planet. We are beginning to do it by planting trees. But when you go shopping, buy what you need. You don't need to go in Aldi and buy a bag of carrots, which has got 60 carrots in there, if you're not going to use it. That's wasteful. There's so many simple things like that where we can make a difference. I've been disabled all my life. And when I met MJ, she said, "You're disabled." I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "Yes, you are." We had a conversation like that for about 3 meetings. And we really argued the point, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we had to. We had to.
We
We had
did.
to. We had to. The thing is, you could argue that you weren't, but I could see the barriers to your life. And then I was saying,
Yeah.
well, tell me what the things you can't do. And well, there's this and this and this. And I'm like, they're called barriers, and that's part of your
Yeah.
disability. And it's a whole mindset, but it's also a heart
It
shift,
is a
isn't it?
mindset, because having had this bad accident I had, at the moment, I'm struggling with energy levels, and it's not lack of food because you and I take the same products, we have the same outlook on life.
We do.
But also, your body is your car. You wouldn't put the wrong electricity in an electric car or the wrong
No,
petrol
in a
in
diesel
a
car.
petrol-powered car.
Yeah.
It won't go. So why are you expecting your body to do it, and why are you expecting the planet
It's
to
no
produce what
sense.
you drink if you don't look after it?
Look, they called me a witch. Most people. Fran called me weird. She said it was far too restrictive. When I found out that me and the kids were, the gluten and dairy, for me, it was gluten and dairy and all sorts. I took it out the kitchen. I just took it out. I was like, no,
Yeah,
they're lying to us.
because it's
I'm
not
taking it out.
natural.
I'm taking it out. And now, 25 years later, well, apparently we were right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you're
You're
banging this
right.
drum, and your drum, the cartoon I saw the other day was a load of politicians, the grey, stale, male ones I'm not allowed to talk
Yeah.
about, in a river, and some of them were nearly drowning. Some of them just had their eyes above the water. Some had their mouth still above the water, and there were a couple standing on stones, and they were talking about climate change.
Yeah.
And that really
then-
is, all in their suits, babbling on about it, whilst 2/3 of them are already under the water, and 1/3 of them, a couple of them, are just stood on a platform like America.
Yeah.
You're like, we only stood on a platform, you lot. Just wait, because your platform's going to fall over soon, just like everybody else's. I don't know why you're all being so arrogant, because it's going to be over for you too.
Over 40%, if we don't do something now, you can go and look this up. Over 40% of England is going to be flooded if we don't do something now.
Yeah, bye.
And that starts up in Birmingham.
Yeah,
That will go down past Windsor.
yeah,
It will go right down to quite far down the south coast.
yeah.
That's 90% of where your growing land comes from.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I'm not saying people don't need somewhere to live. What we've got to stop doing is building on greenbelt land.
Absolutely, because we're going to have to
Because-
need it for
because
growing shit.
Already, we're getting problems if you've got favourite resources that you personally like, that you might go into Aldi's, Marks and Spencer's, or wherever you shop, and they haven't got it. Why? Because
Logistics. We can't get it across.
they can't. The planet is getting to a point when it rains hard like it is now, and then it goes dry. You imagine sitting in the sun and getting sunburnt. What happens to your skin?
Yeah.
It starts to shrink, it starts to dry, and it burns. That's what's happening to the planet. So the farmers put the seeds in there to grow the crops that you want to eat, and they can't grow because it's too wet, too dry.
It's true.
In Australia, they were driving from one side of Australia to the other because it was so dry. They got no grass in the fields at all for the cattle. None.
Hmm.
So we've got to start acting now.
And acting
The
together.
Fens is at water level. Fortunately, where my house is, when I was buying it, the company I was buying it with said you can only live in certain parts of the Fens where it's safe, because if there's flooding, you'll have a problem. The only reason we don't have major flooding in England is because we've got more than one resource. We've got one big resource in London where they control the water, and they're having a big problem in London now with water, because years ago it was more industrial, so they're not using the same amount of water. And without those big gates they have, you'd have mega flooding in London now. But that won't work forever. So taking responsibility for what you do now, even with a disability, it shows people that you can make a difference. I can't actually go out and collect the rubbish now. It's not safe for me to do it, MJ.
No.
I'm a liability.
Yeah.
But I've still got to go out shopping.
Yeah.
And I went on Friday, and I will say, I have to say, that I didn't have to struggle once. I didn't actually have to ask anybody for help. They were just there. What you put out comes back to you. That kindness. The reason you get things done is the kindness. The amount of things that I've got support through you, except for one company, which Barry Bennett's, which have a law of their own. It's totally amazing. They haven't read my report properly.
No.
Because they're trying to tell me I've had my equipment, which to some degree I have. But they didn't read it. So
No.
that's today's challenge, is to go back to them and sort them out.
Yeah.
So this is how we make mistakes. And the only reason I brought that up is
Yeah.
because it shows how we miss things.
Of course, we
I
all
actually
do.
did it. I did it. It's taken...
You didn't even know you were disabled.
No, but last time I went, not last time, time before I went to hospital, and you said to me, "Have you been claiming you were transport
Yeah.
back?" I said, "No, but I don't know how to do it."
Like this.
At the point, what caused the kerfuffle with partly with me getting that back, and I've only just got that back now, MJ.
Takes ages. But
Yeah,
once you
yeah,
get the
but-
routine, once you get the routine,
but-
you get into a roll. Go on.
They definitely got the wrong blasted forms at the
Of course they had. Because they'd be old and nobody's bothered asking because nobody tells anybody. And then the fund doesn't get used and then it gets cut. Just the same as we've just lost emergency payments for electricity this winter. And that young whippersnapper of 12 who's never had anything go wrong in his life ever is sat there going, well, if you don't like it and you don't want us to do it, you'll only be moaning when you've got the bill to pay later. No, we're talking about people being alive, mate.
Before I lost everything to fraud, I was supporting homeless teenagers, and I was doing it on a regular basis.
I've done it too.
And somebody said to me,
Ask Fran.
"Why aren't you looking after the elderly?" I said, "Who's going to be looking after the elderly tomorrow?"
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that one.
Right. I have friends that
What do you do with
sorry.
people when they're young is their outlook on life.
Totally. And what you do with them when they're not young. We've got I was going to say a family member. The guide that I have, who actually I knew I always had, but was named on Clubhouse on account of the fact that, anyway, the person that I work with is not alive, that from another part of the world, the stratosphere, and they were part of the UN before they passed over from SARS, and they spoke 11 languages. They were the most multicultural individual that you could possibly meet, and they were high functioning, and they were definitely a polyglot. That's what they call us, and that's only 2% of the world. Those people are able to move their energy because, as I'm told by one of my coaches, greatness comes in all forms, and there's a certain percentage of people who can do that. Now, when you are one, you can see it. When you know you're one, then you can see the ones that can do it, and that's a bit scary now because I know who they are, and that means that now I have a responsibility bigger than I ever knew I had. Even though I always knew I was a bit strange, I didn't quite understand the power I had. And I didn't understand that the gratefulness I have is that I've always trained. I was baptized by full immersion at 15. You know, I am a born again Christian. However, I'm also everything else too, because nothing's disconnected. So whilst I understand Jesus was a fantastic part of the triad, the number three, the Holy Trinity, the middle, my energy comes from source, and I am source, and source comes through me. It's not of me. Now, my source connection is stronger every day because I practice it. And what does practice make? Well, we know it's progress.
Perfect.
So when you and I and James and Jew and everybody else that we know that's connected like we are, like Pete and Dale, he's definitely without a doubt, and Camilla and David, there are people, we know them, we are them. We meet them and we're connected irrevocably. We are what they call in quantum physics, we are entangled, because our heart space has had a heart on. And when you have a heart on with somebody, then you are entangled. And it will be shown to be true. What I'm saying now is fact in my mind. Just like this organisation and its development was fact in my mind the day I dreamt it. And I rang Francesca to tell her it. And at the time, British Telecom did, you could talk to you 10 numbers free for an hour. So I would talk for 59 minutes and then Fran would ring me back. And then we'd have an alarm and she'd talk for 59 minutes and then I'd ring her back. And then I'd talk for 59 minutes and then I'd ring her back. It was good to talk, said Maureen Lipman. Do you remember? And she has an ology. She has an ology. He had an ology. He's doing his psychology. He's doing his ologies. I thought, I want bloody ologies. I'm having ologies, Maureen. Maureen, I'm going to be your grandson, daughter, child, offspring, anybody, because you like being on the phone when it was happening. I was like, Maureen, be my mum. I want an ology. She was dead proud of him for having an ology. So I went and got loads of ologies, I think, just to make people proud.
One thing people can do for themselves and teach their family members is, and I'm not saying don't use the NHS because the NHS is there to be used.
Oh, God, it is.
But at the moment we are abusing it.
Yeah.
Please, if you want to keep your NHS, think what you're doing first. I'm not saying don't drink. I'm not saying don't smoke. What I'm saying is,
I am.
think about what you do before you go to A&E to ask for help because you got toothache. Because very often that is lack of self-care.
When they're in a dentist, though, and you can't get one, and there isn't any, and you've got no money, what do you do?
Well, I haven't seen a dentist in over 20 years, MJ, because when I lost all my money, even if I could have got an NHS dentist, because DSA had told me
You're
then
right.
when I had nothing, I could have been
Sugar creates cavities. You're right.
I couldn't have
You're right.
any support.
You're right. Shit creates cavities. That's the truth.
I had to find a way of treating that toothache myself.
Well,
and what I realised was
homeopathy.
that I got to look after my teeth better.
Yeah.
So I did, and I still haven't been to a dentist. If I went to the dentist now, so you need this one filled, you need that one filled.
Most kids aren't going to the dentist. When they get there, they've often not been for years now because they've eradicated dentistry. I mean, it's more expensive to be an NHS dentist than it is a private one. You can't actually make money out of the NHS dentistry plan, but I think I can. I think if I open a dentistry, I can make it work. I believe I can make it fundable. I believe I can make it fundable and NHS. I believe that I have the hybrid model. I believe I can create dentistry again. I believe it's manageable on the money with some input from some services and some support and some training. I think we need to combine the education, the health and social care and the workfulness. I think we have to be us. I think it has to be us.
Yeah, it's important, but people need to realise that whether it's what you eat or how you live, it's about proper maintenance.
Of course it is, just like your car.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with modern medicine, it's take a pill first. Now, I'm not going to say at the moment I'm not taking painkillers because I'm not taking them during the day, but I am going to take them at night because I need some peace. I need to be able to rest. They don't actually stop the pain, but what they do is relax the muscles enough.
Of course.
But it's become too easy to expect the NHS to provide a pill, to provide an answer. And
it is.
Very often it comes down to you looking at your lifestyle and what you're doing.
Well, the first thing is to start with your gut.
We've got so many people in this in the world that are clinically obese, but they're actually underweight.
Yeah, well, they're starving.
Exactly, because when you eat all these ready-made meals and these pastas and everything
just swells you up.
The body can't cope with it, so the body starts to eat itself. Go and look in a country where they've got famine. When it really gets to that point, before they get to the skinny bit, the stomach and the body blows up first because it starts to live off of itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it does when you're constantly eating junk food.
That's right.
So just doing those simple things makes a difference. When I gave up sugar, I had the same withdrawal symptoms as somebody coming off of drugs.
Yeah.
I had headaches, I had shivers, depression, and that was sugar. By giving that up, made such difference. I was a size between 20 and 22, and I lost weight. I can get.
You didn't diet.
No diet at all.
No need. I don't diet anymore. It's a terrible word. I
should
have
not be
dieted.
allowed.
I've
They
yo-yo
should not
dieted.
be allowed to do it on the
No, they shouldn't.
NHS.
It's illegal. It should be illegal. It doesn't work. You just
Dangerous.
put a stone on every time you lose weight. It's ridiculous. And this new Alenzic or whatever it's called, this injection they're all having. I've got clients literally who have said, please, 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 please go and read. This injection just gets you to lose muscle mass and fat until you stop being injected, and then you put back the fat on of the same propensity, but you don't put back the muscle.
No, you
It's a
don't.
killer.
And please, please, please exercise.
Move.
It's so important. It hurts me to exercise.
It does
now.
me.
I haven't done it yet this morning,
I have.
but I will be doing when we're off this call, and I will be getting off the floor. I ended up on the floor yesterday again before James came, because
Yeah.
that's what happens to me.
Yeah, of course it is.
Why I always do it on the coldest bit blasted floor? I don't
Well,
know.
it's just so that you remember how you are. It's like going into a plunge pool. It's like going into a plunge pool or having your van nicked. It's just to remind you who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's the
And that's
universe
what we
reminding you
have to
that you're a
do.
physical human because you need reminding, seeing as you're actually a spiritual entity.
Yeah. If people want to look this up, what was that? That nun who was Mother Teresa.
Mm.
She walked around for years with a bad leg because she didn't think she could have anything done about it, and she had a growth on her leg.
Really?
Yeah. Go and look at the history of Mother Teresa.
Ah!
It was a.
I bet nobody told her either. A bit like hand
No.
cycles. No, nobody told me hand cycles existed. You were there when I learned that hand cycles existed.
Yeah, and when we did the marathon, I nearly scared
Ah.
you with my scooter.
We've had
I went and got
so
your
many.
backup bike out, and I got it in there.
You're amazing.
This is my French. How the hell do I stop this? There's no brakes on it.
You know those memories are made forever, don't you?
Because those brakes are like the old-fashioned bike when they were first designed.
was.
The only way you could stop it was the back pedal.
Yeah, it was
And that goes
funny.
for about a foot
Funny.
before it actually listens to you and stops.
Yeah, it's funny. But you know what? The memory we've made when that next marathon is at, Silverstone, and there's
Yeah.
600 Omeos and 800 cycles and 400 scooters and 2,000 wheelchairs and 40,000, Paralympians. Then we'll realise what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it was
what
a starter. It was getting us to the starting point.
Yeah, so I don't dare get on that Omeo at the minute, because if I have another accident, I
No,
will be in hospital.
Absolutely. But the thing is, it means you can test new things and other things.
Of
Send
course
you-
you can. That's
Send
me
you to
last
Bromakin
stop.
next and have a look at what they've got. Things have to
It doesn't mean
evolve.
I'll stop. It doesn't mean I won't get on it.
No.
I will do,
No.
but I've got to be sensible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've still got a little bit on that foot that hasn't healed yet.
Yeah.
Whatever
Well,
I did to myself.
I'm afraid we've got about 5 minutes. I've
Yeah.
noticed we've gone half an hour over, which is fine. Maybe people have got up now. So, with no further ado, because we really should spend more time together, one day we'll go on a spa break, you and me and them and us, and we'll just sit around and talk. That's what
It'd
we'll
be
do.
lovely.
That's what we'll have to do. Right, Arju. Good morning. I did say good morning to you at 4, but you weren't around. How are you? You can finish us off. We've got 4 minutes.
There's nothing like feeling after Alexia.
Well, we love a chunter, me and her, don't we? I bet it's like being married again. Is it?
Well,
you-
never ever talk to my wife for that long.
Ah, you've talked to me for ages.
I want to talk to you for hours.
Well, that's a bit weird. And anyway, you're divorced now, so it's over. You don't have to worry about the fact you didn't talk, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, how have you been? You all right? What do you think of this morning? Do you think I've told it as it is?
I think so.
Do you think it's fair and equitable, or do you think I'm just being mean?
Don't think there's much you could add.
Am I being fair, do you reckon? With my story, am I being
Yeah.
fair? I'm not exaggerating, am I?
No.
No, it's a shame, isn't it? Because I was worried that, you see, I could, and then it would just look fantastic. Well, not believable. This is not believable. So I think people might think I'm being a bit fantastic, a bit magical thinking. But seriously, this government is on its way to doing the same thing again and again and again, rinse and repeat. I'm right. I mean, I am. It's a shame, isn't it?
It is.
Anyway, somebody's got to say it. So there we are. We've said it, and we're saying it together. I can't wait till we're saying it together in Downing Street. Can you?
No.
No, I can't. At the end of the day, you're a para. You know, you're already, whatever you are. I don't know what my granddad was, medalled or bemedalled or knighted or whatever. I know you're not knighted, but you know what I mean. You're already bemedalled, and they should have you there anyway, just as a gob on a stick because you were bemedalled. Let alone the fact that you got stuck in a home for 3 years, and we've had to I'm virtually digging a tunnel.
It'll be 5 years.
Yeah. I've been digging I'm having to dig a tunnel, and then when we find that there's a metal thing in our way, we have to dig around it, and then we have to dig another tunnel, and then when they find it, and we have to take a divergence. It's just a bit of a long route out, but we'll get it. It's a maze, but we're going to find the out, and when we find the out, then we can go to Parliament, can't we? Yeah. So we'll look forward to that. It's shit, by the way. I've been. So's the House of Lords. That's crap too. It's rubbish. Its accessibility is rubbish. You get there, they've got guns. You don't even get a nice time. And the guns. Like, I don't mind them having guns if you're having a good time. But they couldn't feed me. The toilet wasn't accessible. They weren't very clever. The ramp that they'd made was really rather wobbly. I'm sure they've got better since they went to thank me. I was like, I can't even get out on the balcony with you lot. They went out to toast the Thames. Eh? Anyway, to raise a glass to the Thames because it's a river. I guess to bring shit in and out is what you do it for, but I don't know the real reason. If anyone knows how you toast the Thames or why you toast the Thames with a glass of champagne, find out. Me and this girl were there to thank me for helping her get 16 A stars in bed or whatever she got, and because she had ME, and helping her, and anyway, and a girl that was at university who was autistic and then just found out, and we couldn't get out on the Thames because I couldn't get out there. Because there was no ramp. So everybody else went to do it except me. So don't expect when we get there it's very accessible, because unless they're listening to this, they probably aren't going to do anything about it, even though they wrote the Disability Equality Duty since. We need to have teeth. So that's the next thing. If we get VAT rated got rid of, then you could write a new Disability Discrimination Act, like an equality duty. Maybe Charmaine could, because she's in the audience. And then we could present it to Parliament and say, look, this is how you need to make it have teeth so that people actually act like Americans. Because when I was in New York, they were all accessible because they're scared of the ADA. The Americans Disability Act. They're terrified of it. But they're not scared here. And if they're not scared, they don't help us, do they?
No.
So we have to scare them, I think, a little bit. Are you ready? We
need teeth.
Ooh! I think we're getting old now. We'll be losing our teeth. We haven't got any dentists. We're going to have to look after our teeth so we've got teeth so we can go and bite them. I don't want to bite them. I've got a picture saying bite me. I don't want to bite them. I just want to lull them into a beautiful love affair until they are hypnotised into understanding that the only way is inclusion.
Beautiful.
You are. We are. I think we're better together, Jew. And I'm late, so I'm going to run away because I'm a minute late, people. You've been amazing. Thank you for all. Thank you very much, all of you that have been here watching, and all of the comments, and everybody in this room, and everybody in that room, and everybody on that camera. We appear to be everywhere all of the time. Everything. So I love you all. We are everything, and everything is me, and you are everything. There's no disconnection between us. And if you think there is, you're wrong. Actually, I think somebody wants to come up. Let's say hello. Can I find it? No, maybe I was wrong. Oh, there we are. Charmaine, good morning. Charmin, good morning. Hey up. I think she did it by accident. She was probably trying to close the room or leave or something. So I'm going to say goodbye, everybody. You've all been amazing. I think you'll hear from Sharman next time. Sharman, give us a bell, will you? I'm sorry I couldn't answer at the weekend. I was busy welcoming another Inclusion Organa member. It's very exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing you all tonight at 7 o'clock. Have a great day. We will be live when the team goes onto Zoom. We're going to discuss going live with what we were trying to do before we were barred, but we won't tell you what we're going to talk about because then we'll be barred. So if you want to come and know what we're talking about before we know what we're talking about, well, at the time we're talking about it, come to our Inclusion at 7 and the link will be given to you secretly for what we're doing. And then the government can't close us down. Okay. See you all at 7. Bye, everyone. I'm just going to end the stream and then I'll end the room. Bye.